Okay, so good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon to who is joining from China. My name is Alessio Pettino. I'm the knowledge coordinator of the EU SME Centre, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you today to this webinar that we are co-hosting with the China Chamber of Commerce. Today's topic is about live streaming. We all know that live streaming has been growing very exponentially in China. There is an increasing number of brands, both Chinese and international brands, that are making active use of live streaming on different platforms. And we will see today that live streaming, of course, has a lot of strengths, a lot of advantages, but it also has some cons and some things to consider. And in fact, many companies, many European SMEs come to us frequently with questions about live streaming, and this is why we decided to organize this webinar today. So if you change the slide, please. Today's webinar will be divided into three parts. The first one will provide an overview of the live streaming sales, including the channels, the platforms, but also the regulations, latest very recent regulations on live streaming, also best-selling products, and how to engage with KOLs and users and so on. Second part will analyze the pros and the cons of live streaming, and this will be done from a brand's point of view, specifically Real Estate, which is an Italian cosmetic product. And we will see in this part that live streaming can be either a trick or a treat, depending on how the planning behind it. In the last part, we will see how to do live streaming from the perspective of a KOL. We are very lucky today to have a KOL with us. And specifically, this presentation will go through the logic of the KOLs, but also the trends and on live streaming and the KOLs, of course. And it will give some tips on how to work with KOLs, how to engage them, what KOLs used to like, what they don't like that much. So this will all be part of the last presentation. Before starting, I would like to say a few words on the EU SME Centre. For those of you who don't know, the SME Centre is a project funded by the European Union. It started in 2010, so it has been around for 11 years already. And it helps European small and medium enterprises to get ready to do business and grow in China. The current phase started in October last year, and it will be running until March next year. It is implemented by a consortium of 5 European chambers of commerce and business organizations in China, which you can see on the bottom of the slide, and led by the China-Italy Chamber of Commerce. We partner with the Enterprise Europe Network, as well as many other government agencies, both Chinese and Europeans, and business support organizations. And we have a physical office in Beijing, which is where I am now. Next slide, please. In short, we have 4 main services. We have a knowledge center through which we publish case studies, guidelines, market reports, and so on. We have an advice center, and I will go in more detail in the next slide on this. We have a training center, which is basically what we're doing today. We provide training or we do workshops on different sectors, but also on horizontal cross-cutting issues. And finally, we also have an advocacy platform. We try to disseminate information about upcoming regulations, both for comments and so on. Next slide, please. I was mentioning this advice center. Basically, we have a team of experts, both in-house and external, that are ready to answer any questions you might have on doing business with China. For instance, typical questions are: my product is stuck at the customs, what shall I do? Or what certification do I need? What standards do I need to follow to be in compliance? And so on. So this is free of charge. We will reply within a couple of working days. So come to us. Do not hesitate to come to us with questions. Next slide, please. A very quick overview of what we have. Many activities. We're organizing many activities, including one this Friday about urban renovation projects. We also have 2 other events next week about outbound tourism for after COVID, and also another one in Shanghai on how to manage risk in joint ventures. We have also recently completed a report which is related to today's topic about e-commerce, and specifically it provides a checklist for European SMEs. It also includes live streaming, but not only. And we are going to do a launch event on the 14th of July in Chengdu and also online. So if you're around in Chengdu, you're very welcome to join. Yes, we also have, yes, please, next slide. And yeah, we encourage you to submit any questions at any time during the Q&A session, and at the end we have this dedicated Q&A session during which we answer all your questions. Before starting, I would like to give the floor to Giulia Gallarati, who is the Secretary General of the China Italy Chamber of Commerce, who is hosting this webinar together with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessio. Good afternoon, everybody, and good morning to the participants in Europe. I'm Giulia Gallarati. I'm the Secretary General of China Italy Chamber of Commerce and also the Chair of EU SME Centre Consortium. I would like to greet the parties who contributed to the webinar to make the webinar possible. CICC Beijing Office Centre, and the speakers, Mrs. Kibero, Mr. Berni, and Ms. Lee, and all the participants connected from both Europe and China. Live streaming e-commerce is an increasing trend for promoting and selling through influencer streams, and it's another way for brands to gain awareness and to reach customers. At the same time, live streaming is characterized by complexity and does not necessarily suit all companies. We hope this workshop will provide companies with tools to better evaluate the use of live streaming in their go-to-market strategies. I'm happy now to give you a brief introduction about the China Italy Chamber of Commerce. So China Italy Chamber of Commerce is the only business organization that is both recognized by the Italian and Chinese government, and the aim of boosting the internationalization of Italian business and to promote the Made in Italy in the People's Republic of China. This year, the Chamber celebrated the 30 years of this foundation with its offices in 5 municipalities: Beijing, Chongqing, Guangzhou, Shanghai, and Suzhou. And will very soon open a desk in Chengdu and Shenzhen. As of our member base, CICC members that are almost 600 represent the Italian business community, such as public, invested, and multinational corporations, small and medium-sized enterprises, and service companies. Our main goal is to promote the interests of Italian companies with the local authorities by supporting and development of opportunities between Italian and Chinese companies, and by cooperating in synergy and in harmony with Italian institutions in order to favor the Italian business in China. The China Italy Chamber of Commerce core tool is our working group and councils that are currently 13 and cover the main industry represented by the CICC member base. The main services that the CICC offers are information service, events and communication, business contact, and specific support and consulting service. If you are interested in having more information about the China Italy Chamber of Commerce, please visit our website that is in this slide. Here you can find our contacts, and I thank everybody for the attention, and I give back floor to Alessio. Thank you, and enjoy the workshop.
Thank you very much, Giulia. Now I will give the floor to the first speaker, Ms. Ambra Schiliro. Ambra has many years of experience in the media marketing, PR industry. She has arrived in China. She arrived in China many years ago, and she founded one PR digital and PR company called Social Cloud, which is also an influencer agency that helps foreign and local brands to export, to grow in the Asian market. This is the second time we have Ambra on board, and it is a very big pleasure to have you again here today, and thank you very much for your invitation. So the floor is yours, Ambra. Thank you.
Thank you very much, first of all, to all of you for having me here. So thank you for USME and also for the Italian Chamber of Commerce. So as Alessio introduced me, I'm Ambra Schiliro, and I'm the CEO of the social media company, social media and PR company, Social Cloud, that is based in China. So today we will start to talk about live streaming in China and how to sell there. Okay, can we start with the slides? Thank you. Okay, so if we go to the slide number 2, we'll start to talk about, so basically, number 3, sorry. Okay, so there are a lot of wording in this PDF I made, so actually I will make a summary of it, but obviously you can have the PDF later, so to read everything else that is included in here. So live streaming in China, what is the meaning of that? So a lot of people, they know the meaning of live streaming in general, and they know what is the meaning of like selling in live streaming. In China, it's like a little bit different from the rest. First of all, let's think about the home channel in television, in broadcasting television, because basically what happened is just moving the home channel inside internet, basically. So in China, starting in 2016, and compared to like traditional e-commerce, live streaming is different because once again, let's imagine home channel, traditional home channel in broadcasting company. So you have this host that show you the product, show you the information about the product, and try the product in front of you. It's completely different from having a picture or just a video put there inside an e-commerce. So they have like a real-time shopping experience, also because compared to home channel shop in the TV, you can actually interact with the anchor, the host of the live streaming, because you can actually send messages and everything. So the host can reply to you in real time and give you a better experience. Obviously, with COVID, this situation changed a lot. So it's not that offline stores now are selling less than before, but obviously COVID changed a lot and give much more possibility in the online store. And this was the best way to actually show to the people which kind of product you have and give them a real offline experience, even though it was online. So there are 3 types of live e-commerce platform: the e-commerce platform itself, for example, Taobao, or short video platform, for example, Douyin. Who is not familiar with Douyin in other countries is called TikTok. And then we have just social platforms. So for example, we can talk about WeChat or Weibo. So according to the 47 China Internet Development Status Statistic, as December 2020, the scale of China's e-commerce live broadcast users has reached 388 million of people. There is a lot of people, and obviously COVID helped from this point of view to have much more people watching the broadcasting. Can we go ahead? Next, okay. So I won't read you all the social e-commerce channel for live streaming that you can find. You can read it later inside the PDF. So basically I will talk about just the first 3. That is Taobao, that belongs to Alibaba. Douyin, that is the one we talked before, it's ByteDance, and it's the one that in the Western world, it's called TikTok. And Kuaishou, that it's another short video app like Douyin. It's actually their main competitor. Then we have Weibo, Pinduoduo, Watermelon, Jingdong, Xiaohongshu, Bilibili, and so on. Later on, you can actually read the data and figure it out how many monthly users they have and which kind of method they use. Let's just talk about Taobao, the first one, so that actually later on you can read all the rest and you have an idea of how it works. So we have on Taobao, we have more than 700 million monthly live loot. What is the method of Taobao live streaming? So we have the merchants, so with the products, then we have anchors with products. So we have 2 different ways. So the first one is the merchant itself, so the producer, the brand itself that actually do the live streaming with the products, or we have the anchors. So the hosts, they are called to be the anchors of those online show, to be the host of the show inside the platform of the merchant. let me read another one that is a little bit different from that. That can be Douyin, yeah. So that it's like 47 million monthly livelihoods, and the matter is like they use internet celebrities, that it's what is called wanong in Chinese, anchors, so actual host, and use a lot of entertainment because Douyin, it's actually a platform with that has people more Generation Z watchers than platform like WeChat or Weibo, and products itself that are inside Douyin or in the store of Douyin or directly inside Jingdong. So for the others, you can actually read all the others. Here it's a mix of social e-commerce and social media platforms. So for example, we have Bilibili, that is a social media platform. We have Xiaohongshu, that is a social e-commerce, and Taobao, that is an e-commerce platform. So we have 3 different kinds of platform inside this list that it's here. Those are the most used channel here in China with the numbers. Can we go ahead? So last year, something changed in China. So live streaming was never something completely easy, like you can imagine. Like a lot of times in like a lot of media all over the world, you read, oh, Li Jiaqing sold millions of like lipstick in like 24 hours. Well, Austin Lee, it's like the god of the king of lipsticks, but the reality is that live streaming is not so easy as it looks like, because for several reasons. The first one is that if Chinese people don't know your products, it's not as easy as if they know the product before. So just doing live streaming to sell some products is not effective like at the same way if you don't do also some social media marketing operation before starting to do the live streaming. And then because the number of live streaming, as we saw before, like grow so much, last year in November, the government put down some like regulations. So in the official website of the State Administration for Marketing and Regulation, there was the first official document that specifically regulate live broadcast marketing activities. So there were 8 types of live broadcast violation will be investigated and punished according to law. I won't read all of them because again, I will share you can see the PDF and we can share it later. So I will make just a brief introduction about the regulation. So there is violation of intellectual property rights, food safety violation, including, for example, safe sales of food that not meet food safety standards, advertising violations such as publishing false advertisement, or price violations such as price bidding or using false or misleading price methods. I'll stop a second in this one because this is quite important, that it's a lot of brands also in the past thought that live streaming was also a possibility to raise the price and let the people buy the products for a higher price than actually they were priced at before. This is not something that happened only in live streaming. A lot of times you can find also like in festival during like 11/11 or 6/18. You can find a lot of like commercial festival in China. There are a lot of like merchants, they try to do this kind of trick. So a few days ago, they put up the price and then they put it down again during the festival, and that is something that finally is regulated. E-commerce illegal act like unauthorized deletion of consumer reviews, that it's something that happened a lot, or fake positive review, or the deletion of negative review that is called black hat CEO. Illegal acts violating the legitimate rights of consumer, for example, replacement or returns. Illegal acts of unfair competition, for example, the webcasters or the anchors deceiving and misleading the consumer. Product quality violations, such sale of fake product as genuine. Can we go ahead, please? Okay, so like what are the best-selling products in China right now during live streaming? So in the latest report of CBN data, the 2020 China Internet Consumption Big Data, According to CBN, jewelry, watches, apparel, food and beverage, cosmetic, and home appliance are the top sale on Taobao and Douyin. Can we go ahead? So who are the live streaming consumers? That's something quite important, because if you want to start to sell in China, you absolutely need to understand who are the Chinese consumers. So first of all, we have the millennials. The millennials are still, they have a social media user from live streaming to photo sharing with a lot of trust in influencer and KOL. Despite the fact that everybody's talking just about Generation Z, millennials didn't disappear. And the e-commerce user of Kuaishou and Douyin are still mainly Generation Z, but Taobao is not like that. And the live broadcast user is higher, the overall income of Taobao live broadcast users is higher than the user of any other platforms. The core users contribute from more than 80% of the watch time of Taobao live broadcast and more than 60% of transaction. Who are those people? Those people are the people that actually stay and watch constantly on Taobao, the live streaming. And those are the same people that contribute to 60% of transaction. And the core of the Taobao live broadcast user, they have, and this is coming from like the latest marketing report from Taobao itself. Their average monthly consumption is 3 times higher than others users. So a normal user that like goes sometimes to on Taobao and goes sometimes to watch a live streaming spend 3 times less than someone that is actually a core user during the live streaming. Can we go ahead? Influencer and live streaming. I choose this picture on purpose because everybody knows Li Jiaqing. I mean, who doesn't know him? But he's not the only KOL, actually anchor, because he's not born as a KOL, he's born as an anchor that sell on live streaming. Especially in 2020, the number of anchors has increased the most, obviously because of COVID. On Taobao, there was a year-on-year increase of 661%. There are 3 types of hosts. We can divide them in 3 categories, the host of live streaming. The first one is the head KOLs, like Li Jiaqing. Then we have the mid-tier KOLs that they have good number of followings and they are well known, but they are not the top tier. And then we have the micro-influencer. We have a smaller circle of admirers and they operate in specialized niches. Those people are also the people that you can find the new WeChat video channel that was launched by WeChat last year. So those people, they don't have the same amount of followers that have big KOL or mid-tier KOL, but they have really committed admirers and people that buy from them. So they can be very trustworthy partners. So numbers sometimes don't mean that it's a best selling. So sometimes if you have a KOL that is more committed and it's more has admirers and followers that are more, or friends on WeChat that are more committed than a big KOL, this can be also ideal for the brand. Can we go ahead, please? How to choose a KOL. So let's start with the opposite. How the KOL choose a merchant? Because remember, the time we choose a KOL, it doesn't mean like when we decide to choose a KOL, this doesn't mean that they will accept it. So first of all, the majority of the influencer chose the products according to the following standard. The market demand, so what the consumers want. For anchor, like micro-influencer, they choose products according to their own style, tone, and personality. So because, as we said before, they have this committed fans, so they won't go ahead and do something different because they're committed fans. They are few and they are really strong fans. According to the need of the fans, considering the brand history, so they will check out the website, what are the partnerships that the brands have done before, and all those kind of information that are quite important for an influencer to understand if they are actually your brand, it's the right brand for what they do. And then other factors like customer service and everything that your brand has done until now. Can we go ahead? And now we switch and we say how a brand can choose the right KOL. We need to do the same too. So we need, first of all, to check the cooperation history of the KOL, with which brand they have cooperated before. What is the result that they have? There are a lot of software in which that we can use to check also if, for example, if we are doing something that is not related exactly to sales, but we want to check at least the like of the forward or the comment. There are several software that we can use to check if those comments, like and forward, they are real or not. So use data analyst platform for web celebrity anchors. There are also a kind of platform in which we can check the all social media platform of the anchors we just choose. Strong professionalism. Let's take a look at their previous live streaming. It's super important to take a look at what they have done before, like literally watch their live streaming and figure it out if they're actually professional or not. And this brings us to the latest point, that is check the KOL live broadcast. So also to see, for example, the real user during each live broadcast. That are they real? Are they not? I tell you a funny story in a few seconds. On Taobao, there is a tool that you can buy that it's give you the possibility to. It's a tool you put on the phone, on top of a phone, and will keep with a beep to give like to whatever you have on the phone. So basically, and it's actually a very good sold product. Why? Because a lot of companies, they use this during live broadcasting to show you, if you see it, that there are a lot of people that like the broadcasting, but sometimes it's just a tool that is doing the job. There are no people doing it. Alternative to be considered. Can we go back, please? Alternative to be considered. Cross-category. Brands can work with KOLs who are not natural partners for the brand. The key is to understand if the target audience is desirable, the brand can trust the KOL to know their people and find the appropriate pitch for the product. KOS, that is a latest born on the KOL world, they are first-line retailer employee with high-quality content creation capabilities. So they are people working for the brand. Virtual influencer, in-house influencer. Can we go ahead? I'll try to be faster as I can. Cooperation method. So which information does the KOL need from the brand? Number of SKU. So that's the first thing that you need to give a KOL or a MCN agency or a social media agency. Number of SKU, type of products, brand history and portfolio, normal price, and live streaming price. That has to be lower than the normal price. Which kind of live streaming is possible? In KOL channel, in brand channel, in a multi-brand channel, in stream pop-up store. If you want to have more information about that, because actually it's a little bit more complicated than just this 4 sentences, just let me know later, or you can send an email and we'll tell you something more about that, because not all the KOL have a channel in which they can sell. So in the majority of the case, you must have yours. Let's go ahead. Cooperation method. I will be short here. You can read it later. We have PIT fee plus commission, pure commission, or quantity guarantee model. So the PIT fee plus commission, it's an amount we need to give in advance plus the commission later. The pure commission, as it says, it's a normal pure commission, and you can find a sample in Douyin Featured Alliance, while the PIT fee plus commission you can find on Taobao. And then we have quantity guarantee model that several MCN companies are using to that, in which you need still to give them a PIT fee. It's a little bit lower, and they will give you back the money of the amount they didn't sell. Can we go ahead? Virtual anchor. So coming back on which kind of KOL you can use, one of the fashionable thing in the past few years in China, in the past year in China, is the virtual anchor. Here we can see again DJT and a virtual anchor. So according to the 2019 Virtual Idol Observation Race report released by IT, there are 390 million people in the country who are following virtual idols. So virtual idols plus real anchor can reduce, obviously, the brand cost. Let's go ahead. In-house KOL. So we can have an in-house KOL in two ways. The first one is a KOS. So we can actually have someone that is a retail person working for us, like literally someone that is in a store working for the brand and then doing the live streaming. And this is a KOS, key opinion sale. Or we can have an in-house KOL. So we can train people, we can hire someone and train people just to become a KOL of the brand. Many of the brands have decided to do this. One of the biggest success stories is Fiona, that they train over 1,000 workers to be, to be in live stream. And after that, during one event, the brand generated 5 million renminbi in sales in only 3 hours live streaming. Let's go ahead. Okay, so I've tried to be as fast as I can to be in my 20 minutes. I hope everything was clear. If you have other question, you can ask me later, and I leave the floor to Alessio and to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambra, for it was a very interesting, useful presentation. I personally found very interesting the virtual anchor thing, which was completely new to me. And I would like also to say that some of these parts will also be repeated again in the third part of the presentation. From a KOL perspective, we have the last speaker here who is a KOL, and she will share the same basically aspects, but from a different perspective. So. I would also like to remind everyone that we will share the slides at the end of the presentation or of the webinar, and we are also recording this webinar, by the way, and we will upload it on our YouTube channel. The SME Center has a YouTube channel where all the recordings of previous webinars are available. So I will now move to the second speaker, Mr. Giorgio Berni. Giorgio Berni is the Managing Director for the Asia Pacific region at Ganasini Corporate. He has more than 10 years of experience in multinational companies, working with the Chinese market since 2014, and he's now currently based in Shanghai. Within China, he leads a lot of team of 10 people, and he cooperates very frequently with local agencies, distributors, but also KOLs for live streaming and for live streaming sessions. And this is why we invited him today to join us today to present his experience from a brand's perspective. So thank you very much, Giorgio, for being here with us today, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alessio, and thank you, USME, and thank you for the Chamber of Commerce to give me this chance. I'm Giorgio Berni, as Alessio introduced me. I will not spend any words more in introducing myself, but I'm really glad today to take 20 minutes of your time to try to answer a very simple question at the end of the day. We all know how complex the Chinese digital environment is. We heard some very interesting hints about that from Amber before. So my aim today is to really try to simplify that. I tried to put it together as a Halloween metaphor that we all know about. So live streaming in China, is it trick or treat? So is it good or is it bad? What are the crucial points that we need to take into consideration when we go through such an activity in China? So, and how do we make it positively affect our business? So the aim of this presentation is to answer this simple question. But before that, I would like to take a few charts to introduce you. First of all, our group. Second of all, the China live streaming environment, even if I will cut it very short, because after Ambra introduction, I see many things have been already explained very well. And there's a third element also to give you some hints about the real estate concrete case. So if we go to the next slide, we start talking about Ganasini Group, which is a family company. It's one of the most historical businesses in the skincare in Italy, born more than 85 years ago. If we go to the next chart, we see the evolution of this group. Next chart. group that is now led, by the way, by the 4th generation. The founder was Domenico Ganassini, still with a surname, still with the same surname, because this is still a group belonging to the same family. Indeed, the big highlight of this history is Real Steel brand, born in 1972, is the brand by which this group is recognized in Italy. It's the iconic dermocosmetic brand within the Italian market. But this history started way before that through a research activity from this guy, who started also to set up the first own brand of the group. Own brands that have been the symbol of the group until basically 10, 12 years ago, when the company started actually to look at the international markets and to expand in that way, with several acquisitions from Spain, from France, from UK, until the last stop that you see in this slide, which is directly affecting me, because we set up I had also the honor to set up the affiliate of this company in China in 2019, taking care of the responsibility of the full Asia Pacific region. If we go to the next slide, we see a very panoramic view of all our brands from the different countries I mentioned to you. Maybe a few of you is familiar to few of these brands. Real Steel is certainly the biggest one, the most iconic one, and probably the most present globally. But behind many of these brands, we have several projects ongoing for international expansion. If we go to the next chart, we see the current situation in China, where we do have 4 main brands with already Tmall stores established. Some of them pretty big, already pretty visible, some of them a bit smaller. But still we operate through Real Steel, which is our dermocosmetic brand, Cum Laude, our intimate hygiene brand from Spain, Compagnie Provence, our iconic personal care and lifestyle brand from France, from the south of France indeed, and Corf, which is a skincare makeup brand historical brand from Italy. On top of those, we also have 2 brands that we are selling out of Tmall platforms and 2 more that we are going to launch in China. So the experience of this group in China is starting to be very wide, very complex. And for this reason, it's also my need to simplify the environment, which is today what we explain you, but tomorrow is going to be certainly already different from that. If we go to the next slide, we start talking about this environment. So we go through it. We can scroll the slide again. And here is basically what Ambra mentioned. What I can say on top of that, on top of the segmentation of the KOLs in China, is that I try to give you a very concrete figure behind. So I put there on the right let's say the volumes we can sell potentially of a moisturization mask, which is at the end our hero product in China for Real Steel. Just to give you an idea about the gap between the different segments of KOLs. So if for the top ones, we can sell between 10 and 20 K pieces in 5 minutes. For the middle one, we go down from 3 to 10. And for the KOC or smaller KOLs, we are around 1,000 pieces. In all this picture, you see our mask in their hands because we typically work with all of them. Can go to the next. So, and here again is what Ambra mentioned before. Actually, we keep thinking from the brand perspective, okay, why do we work with that one? Why don't we work with the other one? It's actually most of all the other way around. So the product selection process from the KOL is a very complicated process that needs many steps to be done, to be gone through. And it starts by a very complete brand product presentation and brand presentation to the KOL. It goes on by a deep dive from their side in the social media in China and on the popularity of the brand. They will go through the brand selling points and any kind of potential regulatory issue of the brand. They will for sure use it and test it. And at the end, only at the end of this process, they will give you the final feedback, which is, let's say, very hard to get on the positive side, especially with the top KOLs. Fortunately, with Real Steel, we had a very good history with them, a very positive cooperation and continuous one that we still take on today. We can go to the next slide. I also wanted to show you what is the cost structure behind. I tried to make it as simple as possible, just to let you know that typically we think about the fixed amount we have to pay. Typically we think about the commission that we have to pay to the different kind of KOLs. What we're not considering when we think about the cost of this activity is also the cost of product samples, coupons, GWP we have to put in this, because typically you don't do a live streaming without giving a proper advantage to the final consumer. This is what the KOL really cares of. So how many mini size you have together with the main product you want to sell, what kind of size, how do you want to bundle them. These are all very key elements to be considered and all very important part of the cost structure at the end of the day. We can proceed. And here we go a bit into the Real Steel case, just to give you a very concrete example. We go on. Just few numbers to tell you what Real Steel is in China. So we are here since 5 years ago. The brand was launched roughly between 2016 and 2017 through the first sales on Taobao. We are currently the #1 Italian skincare in China by far. Skincare is a very, very competitive category in China, and it's extremely hard, especially if you enter today, to get some sort of visibility. We have one clear hero product, which is the one that you see here, moisturizing mask 75 ml, which is making 70% of our sales. And we are working indeed on new products launches and complementary products assortment. This is a very important activity to do because we need to diversify the risk also in the products portfolio mix. And with the current investment plan, we do have an ambition of growing average 30% yearly in the next 5 years. You can proceed to the next. Here you see what is our experience in terms of live streaming, in terms of numerical experience. So we have been working within this tool since 2018. Basically, we kept working with it. If you look at the last column, it would seem decreasing, but actually here we are considering only 6 months. So basically, we are keeping increasing actually the usage we do of the KOL. And if we go to the next slide, you can see very clear how much live streaming is important for us, because in 2018 it was only 88% of our total sales. In 2020, we closed the year with a 35% weight. So extremely, extremely important for us and for our sales volumes. And go to the next. So finally, we get to the question that I mentioned to you at the beginning. Let's see the part that is actually the positive part of the live streaming, the treat of the live streaming. And we can see it in the next chart. So the first advantage is very clear. So uncomparable sales boost. There is nothing right now, especially in this consumer industry, that can sell as much as a live streaming, especially with the top KOL. This is a crucial activity for new launches, brand newly launched, of course, to gain more visibility, but it's also a crucial activity in the mix of many. For an established brand to keep the visibility of the brand running. Brand visibility, there is the second very, very important element. Here you see an example with Li Jiaqi concerning an activity we did actually thanks also to the cooperation with the Chamber of Commerce in China. in the last November. So here is a kind of event that will have 5 to 6 million viewers. So you can only imagine how visible our brand gets for that certain time. The third element is the store's traffic increase. So today, whatever you can invest directly on the platform to gain more traffic, but these tools are getting more and more expensive, less and less effective. So these kind of activity are also extremely important to let the people know about the brand and to let them search for it and to get later into your store. So it's additional traffic besides the sales that you're gonna get during the event itself. The fourth element is low complexity. Why do I say that? Because at the end, we need to catch the eye of the KOL on one product, nothing more than that. And the system itself is very simple. You pay a percentage, you pay a fixed amount, you just wait for the performance to happen. So basically, no big strategy to play around with. It's just full focus on letting them accept the product. And once you have it, you got to make sure that you have the stock indeed to handle it. And the last point is connected to this and is indeed a quantifiable ROI. Whenever we invest in marketing, especially in the digital environment, in China, it's never that clear how much return do we have. But in case of live streaming, we can definitely reconduct it very well because we have direct sales coming from it. Indeed, some sort of brand heritage result, but we cannot really quantify. So if we base on the sales itself, we can really estimate what is the real return. We can go to the next slide because the treat is not the only part concerning live streaming. There is also a tricky part to take care of. We can go. So first of all, high investments. You saw before what kind of money we have to put in and what kind of weight in the business we have, with an ROI that is not always positive, especially at the early stage of any brand. Because as Ambra very correctly said before, selling in China is a system of things. So if we do everything well, then we will have a positive effect also in the ROI of a live streaming. But if we do only that, it's very, very tough to make it worth. The second point is a too wide brand choice. So you need to have a unique selling proposition to convince the KOLs. If you go to these buildings where the KOL companies are established, you will see how many people is coming day by day offering new brands. So it's extremely, extremely hard to get chosen. The third point is the product stock availability. This is one of the main concerns of all my colleagues from different countries in Europe. Okay, how many products shall we be ready to sell? Most of all, they are worried about, okay, maybe I produce too few and the KOL will sell them all in a very short time and then we will miss a big chance, right? Actually, I'm telling you something more. The biggest concern you should have is actually the other way around. So you're producing too much and the product is not performing as you expect. And then you and your local partner need to manage that stock. So this is a very important thing to take care of. In the first case, actually, it's still a positive case because you sold them all. So this means the KOL will search again for your brand, will accept again your brand. So you will have time to get back doing this activity, this time more prepared with the correct forecast. The fourth tricky element is the sales versus branding. So besides we have, as I said before, a good brand visibility in those minutes, we don't have to forget that you are selling in those minutes because of the KOL, not because of your brand. So whenever you evaluate the performance, you shouldn't connect it directly to the brand. You should mainly connected to the KOL itself. So that's why it's very important to develop a 360 degrees marketing campaign to make the brand more solid. And the last point, indeed, is a very big risk connected to volatility and addiction to KOLs. Why? Because they will not work for your brand forever. So the day they will stop, then you will miss a lot of volumes to recover. So this has to be kept in mind very well. We can go to the next. And we can finally give an answer to the initial question, trick or treat? Get to the next. And we can say basically the live streaming is definitely a treat if managed very carefully. So first of all, the suggestion from myself is select your key partner. So take a long time to select your local partner, evaluate many aspects, and then let it drive the operations. So taking the stock risk and the critical marketing investment decision, both for cross-border and domestic market. Indeed, it's extremely important to follow them in the forecast and order process, which is key for all the brands. Two is be sure you have a very unique selling proposition. Your brand might be famous in your country, might be famous in other country you worked in, but China is a totally different world. They need several aspects to be very complete, very catchy, to the eyes of consumers that most of all are very different from what we are used to have. The third point, extremely important, look at the competitors. So identify what your benchmarks are doing in terms of live streaming activities, how many times they do, with what kind of KOLs, with what kind of investment. This would be a very good benchmark to start your planning with. The fourth element is diversify the risk, as I said before. Extremely important. This is probably the most important part. You cannot count only on live streaming. You need to invest on solid branding. Meanwhile, investing on all the platforms that Ambra mentioned before, and even more considering the specificity of your industry. For example, for the skincare, we have many digital platforms focused on the medical side that we are using. So extremely important to build the brand overall. And number 5, the supply process starts from sellout. So make sure that the volumes purchased are aligned with the market potential, and do not underestimate the risk of overloading your local partner. Sometimes we tend to think as brand, okay, they did the target, they did the purchase target, I'm happy with that. But then how much are they really selling? Why this is so important? Because whatever they don't sell today, they will not purchase tomorrow, indeed. But also, whatever they invest cash flow in today, which is the stock, will not be available money to invest in the marketing tomorrow, which is, at the end, the key to have success in China in this industry. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Giorgio, for the very, very nice presentation. And it was very, very insightful for me to understand your experience from a brand perspective, and we know Real Estate has been doing very, very well. And I will now move, we are 5 minutes late, I will now move to the last speaker, Miss Angelina Sai Lee, who is, by the way, is joining us from New York, so it's very late for her, and thank you for this. Angelina, she's she has more than 15 years of experience in the PR, marketing, and media industries. She's founder and media of the media and PR company Lyra since 2016, and of the US first shareable charging company Pop Charge since 3 years ago. She also published a lot of restaurant guidebooks with Citibank and Visa, and most importantly, she is also a TV host for PPTV. and a KOL for other live streaming platforms. So thank you very much really for being with us. It's very an advantage to have a KOL directly joining our event today. So we really look forward to your presentation, and the floor is yours. By the way, questions, there will be a Q&A session at the end. So please submit all your questions in the Q&A section, and we will address them later. So thank you again, Angelina. The floor is yours now.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. This is Angelina, and thanks for the invitation from CCIC. So today I'm gonna simply talk about how to live streaming from a view of KOL. So can we go to next slide? Yes. So today we're gonna talk about how to be a live stream KOL, and also what's the trend for our KOL influencers. Also, and at the end, I'm gonna talk about what kind of things that we KOL usually care about. Let's go. So, and another one. Okay, so as the host mentioned, I have my PR company. I also used to be a model since 4 years old, and now I own my personal TV show in PPTV. And last year, I basically did 30+ hours per month live streaming. And also I have my own company. So, but today I'm gonna talk about more from my KOL experience. So can we go? Yes, those are something that I used to did. You can see we have a TV show, and a TV show we have 60 million viewers per episode is weekly. And also because that TV show is about sports, so later actually relate to the live streaming, the products that I sold. And can we go to next? Yes, those brands I used to work with, and later we're gonna talk about some product from those kind of brands. Next one. Okay, so how to be a live stream KOL? So there are two ways. One way, the KOL, they are influencer themselves. For example, they have their own TV show, they have their short videos, they already popular in all kind of platforms. So they also own their own personal account, for example, like TikTok, Weibo, or other platform. So also some start, now they also become like live streaming KOL. That's the first one. Also the second one is OEM company or some agency. They want to hire some KOL for selling the products on the platforms. So they're gonna sign many those kind of KOLs. So I'm kind of like belong to the first one because I have my own account. So usually I do my live streaming by my own account. So can we go? Yes. So how we usually work with brands. So brands or agency, I mean the PR agency which work for brands, they usually sign some agency. So they came to us. So they would ask like our presentation or something. So usually in between KOL or agency or brands, also some KOL company too. So that's I mentioned in the second point. And then once we got the offer of products, we're gonna research it and what kind of product it is. We're gonna try it, and it usually takes a month. like another speaker mentioned, actually we select the product very carefully, because we don't want to we want to continue for work with the same brand. So so also after the research, we're gonna get some education about those kind of area. For example, I used to work with some sport company, then maybe they selling those kind of sport equipment that I never heard about. So I need to do some education too, and all those kind of information I need to tell all the audience in 5 to 15 minutes, so that never can be go wrong. So, and then after the education, we need to select which product we're gonna do. And also we need to set the time. Some product we only give like 15 minutes, some product we give like 20 minutes, and some product maybe we work for 1 hour. So, and then we sign the contract. That's how we work. And next one. So what kind of trouble that we used to face when we work with the brands? First is many brands, they come from overseas. They're not local brands. So for example, they come from Europe, America, or Korea. So many brands, we don't understand their brand culture. So 2015, I used to work in Milano Expo. So I visit many brands. So actually, I know Italy, they have a lot of brands that they have a long history, family history, but those kind of brand culture, not every KOL understands. So actually those you need also, we need to learn from brands for long, like for maybe months about those kind of culture. Also, the second thing is many brands, they came to us, but maybe they don't fit for our fans. For example, I especially fit for those brands like sports, makeup brand, and fashion. And so, but if you, some for example, some food or something, if they find me, maybe my fans, they won't like that into. And also the third one is the exclusive thing. So we don't want to like see same brands that another KOL also have the same price or lower price that they're selling. So that's, we don't usually accept. And then the fourth is the fee, and that's about the like commission, entrance fee. So actually those are main four trouble that usually KOL is facing. Okay, so so the next trend for KOL or influencer, that would be so let's see, actually, because I did some research about like how often people watch those live streaming in China 2020, January to June. So actually you could see most of the percentage, like they watch every day, many times, right? So we can go next slide. So that's come to us, like KOL, what do people care about when they choose the which KOL or which platform they watching? And because maybe top 10 KOL, they have their loyal fans, but actually most of the like fans, they're not that loyalty for certain KOL. So actually what they care about most is the presentation, how you present the products, and how you decorate the chat room. And then like the content, like the products, like what kind of products. And then other is would be the platform. For example, I work with Taobao and JD.com and Douyin, and each platform, they have different audience. And also the fun, some KOL, when they introduce a product, actually is very boring. And so actually those people care about. So what do we think the next trend for our KOL will be? So next slide. So we do believe like brands at the end, maybe they would find their own exclusive KOL. Maybe they would try to educate or assign, just like brand ambassador, like they would find their own KOL for only work for one brand. And also we believe brands will build their own live streaming room, like not like depends on now the KOL. Maybe they have like 5 hours, they have like maybe 20 product, but now we believe maybe later brands, they're gonna build their own rooms. And also the price will be cheaper and cheaper like than right now. So that those trends that we believe. And next slide, please. Next one. So what we care about, of course, the price of the product. So the reason why live streaming at the beginning came from jewelry selling. Actually, at that time, they tried to sell jewelry by online because the whole concept came from maybe like 1960 US home shopping. So actually at the beginning is about the jewelry. So and then later right now you can see more and more product coming. And so the reason why people want to watch it, not because of KOL, because the price of the product literally very like lower than the market price or other places you can buy. Also, we care about like personal exposure. So if one big brand, they came to us, and then the brands, they also do their own marketing. So we would love to work with them. And then the third one is no doubt is a profit. And then the fourth one, actually very similar to the second one, is a brand. And at the end, we all want to sign to the brand as exclusive. And next one. Thank you. Okay, so what kind of brand we would love to work with? Like I mentioned before, it's a famous brand. Also, we love like makeup and beauty products and home goods. And nowadays, actually, the new trend is a pet supplies. It sells really well. And I mentioned the third time is exclusive, very important to us. And then the price. Next one. Thank you. So, and what kind of brand we would not love to work with is the commission too low. And that's most important. And also the products, it sells, the market is very competitive. For example, actually nowadays we don't we don't want to sell lipstick to that much like before, because it's too many lipstick brand. Also, we don't want to, of course we want to help brands that from the beginning, but we still want to work with big brands. And also like exclusive, the fourth one. And then at the beginning, actually many brands, they trying to only give the commission, but actually now we only accept like commission plus entrance fee. And the last one is I don't usually sell products not in my area, like those areas that I don't understand them, I won't sell. So at the end, I have 3 small sample, example about like the selling. So to explain actually what is good for live streaming. So at the end, the last one. Yes, so the first one is Taobao. So Taobao 2019, I worked with them a lot for selling the fashion brand. So usually there are some big brand, but usually they are like some local Chinese brand. So what we do usually, we just like wear the clothes, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just like model catwalk, like those kind of way, explain the details and those kind of, usually is indoor. So those 2019 actually is very good for local fashion brand. And as I have my own sport TV show, so I work with JD.com a lot for sports. So, but JD.com very different. JD.com, if they do those live streaming show, they do outdoor. So we will wear those kind of sport brand products, and then do the sport outdoor, and then show the people. And TikTok, 2019, we did sell a lot of lipstick, but TikTok and very but if in the it comes to TikTok, so a little bit hard because you need to set up the whole selling like a TV show. So actually they request a lot of work, and I think for myself, I like to do by Taobao most, because Taobao is more I think because the data better for me, for my experience. So that's all I could share today. So if you have any question, you can contact me by the WeChat and also by email. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelina, for the great presentation, and it's really interesting. It's really nice to have you from your perspective telling us how it is like to work with KOLs. I would not spend too much time. I would directly go to the questions. I would invite everyone to submit any questions you might have, because this is your opportunity to ask any questions to all these 3 excellent speakers. So please, I see one hand raised, but we are not giving the floor to participants. We will require you to write a question in the Q&A section. So if there are, I have one question from my side while we wait for other questions to Giorgio. I saw one slide talking about the cost of the cost, and they were on the left axis, vertical axis, there were quite scary numbers like 4 million, 5 million. So what do this number refer to? Is it like how much it costed to do one campaign, one live streaming campaign for real estate, or what did those numbers refer to?
Okay, yeah. So here I just took a last period accumulated live streaming cost that we had. So it's basically a practical example. I don't think it was very helpful to see only one, because what I wanted to share the most is the percentage of the cost. If we can stop, yeah. So basically, there are absolute values, but this is just accumulated period. So I would not stuck on that. If you want an example, for example, of a top KOL specific live streaming, I can tell you roughly. For example, when we get to sell 15,000 pieces of mask, this means roughly a turnover of 3 million RMB. Meaning roughly 400,000 euros in 5 minutes. 400,000 euros sell out So 15,000 pieces basically of a mask that we sell at 200 RMB. But this means, as you can see by the column, that there will be a 30% commission. So only the commission is going to be 900K plus a fixed amount that is probably going to be 100K or so, plus all the cost of coupon and GWP, which might be around 1 million as well. So we already did 2 million investment to sell 3 million to consumer. And on top of that, we need to consider the cost of goods that the Chinese local distributor has to purchase from Italy, plus the structure cost, so all the people behind. So from this very simple calculation, you will easily evaluate the fact that any live streaming with a very top KOL is not gonna end up with a profit, but it's certainly gonna help you building the sales, which is extremely relevant in China at the end of the day, because whenever you enter the digital platform, every single offer has a number below that. And the number means how many pieces you sold in the last month. And whoever consumer enters into your brand stores, the first thing they will do is to sort the products by the number of sales. So they will see actually what is your best seller products, or in that category, what are the best seller products. So basically, whatever you sell works actually like marketing for this market. So that's why it's extremely important, although sometimes the return is negative, to do such actions, because you will have a future return on the future purchase of new consumers.
Thank you.
I hope I gave you the answer you were searching for.
Yes, thank you very much, Giorgio. And maybe also related to this, Ambra, you mentioned KOS, in-house KOL. What about their cost? Do they cost like, I mean, I understand they are like employees of a company, and, you know, what are their costs? Like normal employees of a company, or they have, you know, different costs? Maybe, because it's a bit of mystery to me.
So basically, we have in-house KOL. There are actually people hired just to become a KOL in-house. And then we have this kind of like new product that is the KOS, that is completely different. And usually they are really retail people of the brand. So they can be the people that you go to a shopping mall and you see those people in the counter. Those are the KOS, so key opinion sale. Obviously, there it depends on the kind of deal you make with the brand itself, because they are not hired to just do that. They were already hired to be retail people, and then they started to do something else. So it depends usually the deal with you do between the brand and the KOS itself. So it's not a person just hired to do live streaming. It's a person that you already hired. So sometimes they can ask you more, or sometimes you just get a more commission on the selling. It depends on the brand, on the deal you do.
Thank you, Ambra. And we have a new question for Angelina in the Q&A. For how would you advise SMEs, small and medium enterprises, who are maybe new in the Chinese market and just starting to explore now the live streaming activities in China? What would be your advice to them? How can they find and approach KOLs in the most effective way? Maybe I would like to interview with something. We deal with small and medium enterprises who often have very limited budget, very limited resources, and we just heard about a lot of scary figures. So what would be your advice to SMEs?
Yes, so my advice will be, the first one is please trust the KOL in China. Actually, we are very professional. And the second one is find the right KOL, because like I mentioned, I understand European culture very well. I visit many factories in Italy, and so you need to find some KOL that understand those history, those culture, actually very important, because when they also very proud of your product, they understand your culture, they would they would talk better in when they do the live streaming, and they know how to present your product into a local way. So actually we are a bridge. We need to translate those kind of cultural word into Chinese, and we translate those kind of word for Chinese, let them to understand your product more. And the last one is actually don't afraid to talk to them, and also please give them some time to try the product, and that's those advice that I think I should tell the companies. And how to approach KOL, and I think nowadays like social network actually very convenient. So you can DM them in Instagram, DM them in Weibo. Actually, Weibo is very good way to send DM, and also TikTok. Actually, all KOL we read DM, and when you talk to them, you should like maybe just send more information, and that's it. Actually very easy how to approach. And actually I got many DM every day, and I actually read very careful. And so, but it takes time. So I'm sure I have confidence for European product, because I understand most of the product actually very well, very good products.
Thank you. Thank you, Angelina. We have another question. We are having a windows and doors brand called Ghost. As one of the few Italian brands, they are just recently entering the RMI field, which, to be honest, I'm not sure. Maybe you can clarify. But I guess they're just entering the Chinese market. Do you think is it possible to sell windows and doors, so furniture, in the kind of furniture segment, to live streaming? Do you think this is a product you can sell through live streaming? And maybe, yeah, I would like to ask this question to all of you. Starting with Ambra, maybe.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the country in which they can sell everything. So that's the reality. If you find the correct KOL, you can actually sell honestly everything. If you can find the right KOL, if the price it's actually correct, if the product is a good quality products, so yes, you can sell whatever you want. I wanted to add something about the question of before, if I may. So small and medium brand, what they can do, because the cost of the live streaming can be actually very high. Something that they can do, and a lot of brands don't think about that, it's being together. So the way you can approach a KOL or an agency that can help you with that, it can be to actually create something all together. So find other companies that have the same target. Of course, it doesn't have to be your competitor, but it has to be the same kind of target. And then you can approach together the KOL and ask them to do a live streaming all together. In this way, we will cut the cost, because you will actually divide it in more than one brand, and you will have, in any case, the same result. You're not competing with each other. So that's just a suggestion.
Thank you for this great suggestion. In fact, we also know that there are many European countries, chambers of commerce, embassy, that do this. So they organize like 1 or 2 hour sessions for brands from their country. So if you are an SME from Europe, try to inquire with your embassies or chambers of commerce in China whether there are any activities like this. Maybe Angelina, if you want to also reply to the question about windows and doors.
Oh, windows and doors. Okay, so actually before the COVID, there was one trend selling the apartment through the live streaming. So actually maybe the brand can contact those kind of real estate company, or they can collab together. Also, actually, selling apartment and selling construction material actually is not a very cold area that we touch. Actually, now is booming, so don't worry, you will find those the KOL fit for the products.
Thank you. Another question, maybe this for Giorgio. I think this is more your field. Just mentioned live streaming is part of marketing, and the more and very high numbers of sales were generated by live streaming. But how can you balance investment for building up brands and with in contrast to investment which is oriented to grow sales?
Well, this is a very good question. This is what we all struggle to do, managing brands in China. The more you get relevant in this market, the more is key to have a balance. I showed you before the raise of the percentage of the weight of live streamings in our business. This is actually very risky in the long term. This is very necessary today to have a good weight, but we need to keep it a healthy weight, because if we raise it up to only 50%, then it means we're gonna risk from the P&L point of view. So how to balance? Indeed, you need to have a complete marketing plan that some part of it will be directly going to the sales marketing, let's call it like that. Some part of it to the branding marketing. So whatever concerns the social media overall, and you cannot really directly link to specific sales. I would say for the skincare industry, at least, I cannot talk for other categories today, but for the skincare industry, a healthy weight of investment on live streamings and on sales of live streamings is around 20 to 30%. So if you keep it within this weight, then it means you are having quite a balanced, let's say, sales mix. But then this is just the first segmentation, branding and sales, that sometimes it's very borderline to divide, because some costs might be allocated directly to the platform, some cost out of it. So it's very difficult today to differentiate these investments. But let's say if you keep this sort of balance, then you're good to go. And then within that split of the investment, there are many other parts to be considered, but we would go into too much technical detail today. I would be happy to share something more if needed. So please feel free to contact me.
Thank you, Giorgio, for your answer. We have reached the end. There is one comment in the Q&A section, which again is something we see very often. SMEs coming to us saying we have very niche products, very innovative products. We have very good products, but our resources are limited. We cannot do live streaming. Yes, it's very true, as all the speakers mentioned. Maybe there could be other options, like some speakers mentioned. There are lower tiers, kind of KOL. So don't think that because costs are high, so you cannot do it. You can always do it. If there are any other questions, please submit them to us at any time to the speakers. They will have their contact details in the slides, which will be shared, but also to us. We can also help to put you in touch with the speakers. And we would appreciate if you could take a couple minutes of your time to complete our questionnaire. We have to do around 40 trainings in the next 9 months. So we would appreciate any ideas, any topics, anything that you're interested in having as a subject for a training. So I would then end this event here. Thank you again to the 3 speakers for your excellent presentations. These are also our email or WeChat. You can also follow us for upcoming activities. And I remind you that there will be the recording of this webinar uploaded on our YouTube channel. So thank you very much for participating. Thank you to the speakers for joining us today, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.